Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Open Door Podcast. I have no idea what episode it is, but I'm Chelsea.
I'm Bedford. It's episode 22.
22. Bedford does the
22.
editing, and so he gets to know, like, oh, last time I edited, this was the number, and he hears it over and over again. I just never get to remember. So, 22.
Yep.
Welcome back.
That's how it works. Welcome back. It's been, I think we took last week off. Did we take last? No.
We did take last week off. So, yeah, we took last week off, so it has been a few weeks. This week, Sloan is not here.
Yes.
She's not here.
She's with Grandma.
And
some cousins there at the library looking at books. And so, life will be a little bit easier and this will go a lot smoother.
Yeah, it is so discouraging to try to shoot with her. I get so discouraged. It's like I almost lose the drive to do it because I'm like, you know how like you're doing something and you're really motivated to do it and then you get interrupted and you're like, the first time you're like, that's all right. And then you can like kind of jump back into it mentally.
Yeah, it's because you're in the zone.
Yeah. And then it's like, and then it happens again and again and again. And you're kind of just like, screw this, I give up.
Yeah, the zone doesn't exist no more.
No, that's really how it is. And then because I know that that's how it is,
then you get all anxious.
Just like going into it, I'm kind of just like, why am I doing this? Yeah. So anyways, she's not here today. So we're excited about that.
Yep. Why don't we jump right in then?
Yes.
Strange things that we found in the news. Now I hear you've got one.
I do.
I've got two.
Wow. Okay. Well, then maybe we're going to have to go quick. So mine is Casey Anthony is on TikTok.
Hey, welcome to TikTok, Casey.
I did not have that on my bingo card. I'm sorry, but I just feel like after you have like undergone so much scrutiny for literally all the wrong reasons, why would you subject yourself? Because here's the thing.
Hey, look.
It points to a very toxic person that needs the attention.
Nah.
Yes. Nah. Stop.
I'm going to tell you this. Imagine putting your name on a resume. And like, I'm going to go work for corporate America. And they're like, who? Casey who? And you're like, Casey Anthony. And they're like, relation? And you're like, yeah, just a little bit.
Yeah, no,
she ain't getting no regular job. She got to do it. She ain't got no choice.
Babe.
Jiffy Lube ain't hiring Casey Anthony.
Yeah, but the internet is also not doing her any favors.
Yeah, it's not. It'll give her a better chance. She'll be able to figure it out.
No, not a chance. And not only that, but she has no business even like really profiting off of. Whoa. No.
She's not profiting. Because she's not like a child.
As of right now, she's nothing. As of right now, she's nothing. She has like 3 posts. All I'm saying is that. So there was this new girl, why can't I think of her name, that she essentially popped up and everybody was like, is this the new Casey Anthony? Within like a month, Casey Anthony had a TikTok. Because she saw that and then she literally was like, no, I refuse to be irrelevant. Even if it's for the wrong reasons, I'm coming back.
Nah.
Yes.
I mean, it probably could be, but I'm just going to say like, here's the thing. And we live it. Like, the opportunities in social media are easier to attain.
Yeah, if you didn't kill your kid.
I mean, it might be easier for her to attain, even specifically because she might have, allegedly. We don't know what happened.
We know.
Allegedly.
Bedford, this is something that I will literally unalive you for. We know. She killed her kid.
All right, Casey, live look.
I will never sit in a room with you. I will never speak to you. I will never. Stop.
Stop
No.
with the hate. Okay.
Who are you?
Didn't you want to be? Who are you, woman? Didn't you want to be a child or like a psychologist, a prison psychologist?
Yeah, I don't want her sitting next to me. I'd rather have them.
How are you going to do it?
She's not in handcuffs.
She ain't going
in a room.
She's just. I'll give her the boop boop bop beep bop.
No.
I got hands.
No.
I got hands.
Here's the thing. I don't even necessarily think that she is a danger to other people right now. But the problem is, and I say this all the time, like I get so tired of people making horrible decisions, whether that's how they treat someone or the way that they live their life. And then they just get to go on and be successful. And there's no consequences, no punishments. You just get to eventually move on with your life and it's fine. And we all know that you killed your daughter. We all know that.
We do not know that.
Bedford.
Inconclusive.
Bedford.
We have some
This
hunches.
is like piss me off, end this podcast bad. Like,
look, we have some hunches.
No.
There's some.
Do you realize that in saying that, you are so disrespecting her daughter?
I don't know her daughter.
Her daughter is a 2-year-old child that literally was murdered by her mother. You are advocating for that child right now. Yes, you are. Yes, you are. They found her daughter's body print in the back of her car. Read the news then.
I don't want to read the news. I'm good.
Okay, so you just want to be uninformed and argumentative. That's what you want to be. That's actually the problem with the country as a whole, is you want to argue about things, but you don't want to.
I'm just saying there's a simple principle.
No, you are literally saying, we don't know, but I don't want to do any research.
Here's the thing. Look, people
Stop.
No, I'm not doing, no, you're going to here's the thing, breathe. It's easy. Like, you're innocent until you're proven guilty.
She was proven guilty.
She wasn't proven guilty?
Yes, she was.
She went to jail for killing her kid?
Yes.
Oh, see, I guess she's guilty.
Oh, so I guess that's exactly what happens when you are refusing to do any research. Hey, you just want to be argumentative.
So she really went to jail?
Yes.
Oh, see, I didn't know that.
Oh my gosh, Bedford.
Why? Are you going to have to look it up right now?
I'm going to tell you exactly when she went in and exactly when she got out.
All right.
So she went to jail for 1 year.
Okay, she didn't go to jail for murder. All right, moving on.
Bedford door.
No, we are. So, random things that we found in the news. Arizona Zoo had a problem.
Okay.
Their giraffe got out.
That's not a problem.
Yeah, that's the problem. They lost their giraffe. They had to go get it.
From where?
The zoo. It escaped.
I know, but it's not like our zoo had a leopard that was out of its containment.
Yeah, but this one, they had to go pick it up in a pickup truck. They had to tie it down in a Toyota truck because it got out. Some dude was in the neighborhood yo, that's a giraffe.
So it wasn't even in the zoo.
Yeah, it was out of the zoo. They had to drive it back.
Which I feel like it shouldn't be that hard.
No, a giraffe should be hard to get back. It should be really hard for a giraffe to get out. If you ask me, right?
Did they say how it got out?
I don't know how it got out. No.
I mean, I'm sure that it covered it, right? I'm sure that they said that someone left a gate open or something, because obviously the enclosure must have been left open somehow.
I mean, the enclosure must have been open and the front gates. Because if you think about it, when we go to our zoo, there's a gate around the whole zoo, right? So it's not you can't. So even if they got out of the zoo, then it has to get out of another gate, and then it has to get out of another gate. There's lots of gates, and it's a giraffe. It's not like it's a monkey with climbing skills.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, the zoo, our zoo has that top entrance that they don't ever use anymore. Mm-hmm. I used to go to that top entrance since I was a kid. That's how I used to get in. And so it's honestly, because it's up that horrible hill that is back behind all the tigers, and nobody goes up there really. And so it's I could see maybe some spots like that where people kind of overlook a situation. I mean, because realistically, when they're enclosing that area, they're more I don't think in their minds they're we need to make sure that if a giraffe ever gets out of its enclosure, it's not coming out of here. You know what I'm saying?
In my head, I'm I think it would be the whole point of shutting down the zoo, right, is to make it so people can't get in.
Yeah, right? No, I agree. I just don't think that
there is no world that a giraffe gets into a space easier than a person can.
Honestly, it had to be facilitated.
Yeah.
I think that it was somebody was trying to let it loose, and it was probably one of those
free the giraffe.
Yeah, probably.
I'll put the picture up.
Some type of a environmental,
Yeah, there's a picture of this giraffe sitting in the back of a Toyota Tacoma with its head kind of
and even at that, how did that person facilitate it? It would have to be a large group of people.
Oh yeah.
Honestly, it would probably have to be somebody that works at the zoo.
Oh yeah.
That knows the ins and outs and knows okay, well, we could get them out of their enclosure, and then this would be the fastest way that we could get them out. That has to be, because it's there's no way it just walked out by itself.
Yeah, that's some Madagascar stuff where the lion's a zebra and they wind up.
Well, and even everything else, it's I don't think. And maybe I'm wrong, I don't know. But I feel at the zoo, if a lion is out of its enclosure, I am skedaddling somewhere else.
Yeah.
If a giraffe is out of its enclosure, I'm probably just going to back up and then watch it from a distance. You know what I'm saying? Because a giraffe's not in the business of trying to eat me.
It's true.
And so
I've seen them videos of them giraffes kicking. They're not very
that's what I'm saying is like I would need to be like from a distance. I don't want to be anywhere near a lion, like nowhere near. Yeah. But like a giraffe, I'm not as concerned. It didn't just get out. I don't.
Right? It just doesn't make no sense. You ever seen a giraffe jump?
No.
Exactly. How to jump the fence.
I mean, it does have long legs. Could it have stepped over something? But then at that point, is it really keeping people out if a giraffe can? I don't know.
You got some answers to do, all right, Arizona?
Yeah, that's weird. I don't appreciate that.
Yeah, there's some questions that need to be answered because you can't just lose a giraffe. They're big. Because if you can lose a giraffe, what else can you easily lose? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I don't know. That's uncomfortable. I mean, and again, like we had that leopard that was like out but it was like sleeping on top of its enclosure. But it's like, that's still freaking scary.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. I feel like zoos need to take that a little bit more seriously.
Yeah. If I ran a zoo, man, things would be done different for sure.
Yeah.
And I would probably get sued. Let's call a spade a spade.
In a lot of ways.
They would not like me because I'd have like Carnivore Wednesdays where you get to watch the carnivores eat. You know how cool that would be?
No, it wouldn't be. It wouldn't be.
It would sell. Man, tickets would go.
Yeah, I would never buy a ticket for something like that.
Oh, to see a apex predator.
No, I don't even like watching the ones that you watch on your phone. So I'm disinterested.
Yeah, or like the alligators. Remember when we saw them feed the alligators?
No.
That was the most I ever seen an alligator move. I don't know. You had to have been there. I don't really go to the zoo without you.
No, I feel like I know what you're talking about, but I don't actually recollect the memory of it.
Yeah. Man, just
gross.
That would be my whole Instagram. Like, come on in on Alligator Thursdays.
Gross.
Selling tickets left and right. Merch. Boom, boom.
Gross.
Betty's Zoo for carnivores.
That is gross. That is not something I would ever want to watch. Like, I remember growing up and watching just like Animal Planet videos and stuff with my grandpa. And I like my great grandpa, and I loved that kind of stuff as a kid. But as I've gotten older, I'm just like, and maybe it's the mom in me, but I'm always like,
yeah, that's true. They do kind of be attacking
the babies.
And they
attack the babies. And then so I'm like, yeah, I don't really care for that. Sometimes Bedford will be watching things like that. And then I'm like, just turn the sound off. I don't even need to I'm not watching it. I just don't even want to hear it. Like, turn that off. I can't. So definitely I would not be going to a zoo.
The carnivore zoo?
Yeah, I'm not
don't
going
steal
to
my
the
idea.
Carnivore zoo. There probably already is one.
Ain't no carnival zoo. You know how many people would be up in arms? Peter would lose their minds. Peter would be like, ah! And then Kanye would come probably, since they're at odds with each other. And I'm not sure whose side I'd want to be on. Okay, and the last random thing we saw in the news. Okay. A Cheeto was found, and this Cheeto looked awkwardly, exceptionally similar to a Charizard.
Did you say a cheetah?
A Cheeto.
Oh.
Yeah, red hot. So it looked like a Charizard. So some dude opened up his thing and was like, wait a second.
I'm looking it up because I need to understand the situation.
The Cheeto looked just like a Charizard.
Okay, well, did you know that it's worth?
Yeah, that's what the whole thing is.
Go ahead.
$87,000 and some change. Almost $87,500.
You guys, it has its own card thing that says Cheeto-Zard. We're going to have to put it on here.
Yep.
I mean, I'm not going to lie. It does look like a Charizard. That has to be intentional. I don't know how or when, but that is not an accident.
I'll tell you right now, if I had $90,000 that I could afford to spend on a Cheeto,
Bedford is a little bit of a reckless spender in situations and I'm not saying he doesn't have the money, but he spends it. But if he has the money, he buys the weirdest stuff.
Just because it's cool.
Do you need that? No, but he will buy it. So when he tells you that he would buy this Cheeto,
100%.
I believe him. Okay, so it's a 3-inch long Cheeto, shaped like a Charizard. It is affixed to a custom card and enclosed in a box. It's sold for $72,000 plus a buyer's premium.
Let me tell you,
the bidding began at $250. So you have this random Cheeto, which I love Cheetos, by the way, and I'm going to start looking at them a little bit more closely, but You have this random Cheeto.
I wouldn't let you sell it if you found a Cheeto-Zard.
No, what I'm saying is like, number one, first you have to get past the like, this is really cool. First you have to like consult a person. Like, could I sell this? Like, who do you consult?
You know what happened.
Because I'm thinking about like Pawn Stars a little bit, where they're like, I need to make sure that this is like worth anything, you know, and then they'll call in an expert. Like, what expert is going to come in and be like, yes, this is valuable?
Here's what happened. You know, this is real easy. I can picture it now, okay? Everything first starts with a little bit of weed, okay? Because here's the thing. Nobody else is going to stop and look at that Cheeto-Zard.
I don't even look at any of the Cheetos I'm eating. Exactly. I'm just stuffing them in my mouth.
But under certain influences, right, a dude might just be like, bro, you see this?
And then you have to preserve that Cheeto.
Yeah.
Like, nothing can break it. And I think in my house, that would never, ever be possible. Like, you have to, like, bubble wrap the Cheeto. And then, but I think that
put in a
the
Tupperware.
Weirder part for me is, like, can you imagine being the guy that lists this Cheeto shaped like a Charizard, and you're like, I'm going to just put it up there for $250. And then the next thing you know, you've sold it for dang near $100,000.
It's a good day. It's a good day.
How are we broke? Is my question. There are so many stupid things out there. Okay, and I guess I shouldn't say broke. Like, we're fine. But what I'm saying is in the grand scheme of things, there are so many stupid things out there that people are making ridiculous sums of money off of. And I'm like, how is that not happening to me?
Our turn hasn't come yet, but it's coming.
It's going to be some, I mean, I need it to be something weird, but I guess ultimately I also would have to have like the creativity or like the mindset to believe that would ever be worth anything. Because even if I saw it, I would totally be like, oh my gosh, kids, like this looks like a dragon. This looks like a Charizard. And then I would be like, I can't sell a Cheeto.
Yeah, no, because it definitely was some guys that were high. And one dude said, hey man, can I buy that from you? The other dude's like, nah, you can't buy that. And he was like, I'll give you $100. And he's like, nah, I could get more. And then they threw it up there.
Or he was like, sure, I'll take your $100. And then the other guy sold it for freaking, like, why can't I have things like that?
Because we stay sober. All right? I think that's the problem. Bringing us into a sponsor of ours. I'm just kidding. We ain't got no sponsors.
We have no sponsors. But if you would like to sponsor us, Cheetos. What a weird thing. That's so weird.
It's cool.
It is cool.
It does look like a chart. Like
it does. And we'll put the picture up there because it totally does. But that is random. I cannot, like, when you say random stuff I found in the news, that's the kind of stuff I think about.
Cheeto-Zard. That's nuts.
So weird.
All right, what you got for us?
Okay, so I was thinking about like quite a few topics over the last couple of weeks, just of things that I thought would be good conversation, but ultimately, like, and I think that you probably can see where this is going, but ultimately, we've had like a very overwhelming, like marital, trying to like understand each other situation over the past couple of weeks, right? Okay. And so I think that we're maybe going to talk about that because, so here's the backstory. So this last weekend was Bedford and I's anniversary, 11 years. And
we did it.
Yeah. And leading up to that, I kept telling Bedford, like, I need alone time with you. I need alone time with you. I need quality time with you. And he was like, okay, yeah. Well, it kind of turns out that we couldn't really afford to go anywhere, right? And so he was like, I was like, let's still just take like a full 7 days and just stay at our house and be together and hang out. And he was like, why would we do that?
Well,
right?
The big thing was we need to get the kids out of the house.
Sure.
Right? And then we'd stay at home. Right.
So, right. And then Bedford was saying, like, you know, and it's very fair, but you kind of were just like, okay, but like I can kind of see myself, or I can see like me getting up at like 6:30 or 7, and then you sleep until like 8:30 or 9 or later than that. And I've kind of just been hanging out at my like house alone for 3 hours. And like I would rather save the ability to have somebody watch our kids until we can actually leave, right? And I just wasn't having it.
Yeah.
You know?
So she wanted to, hey, let's spend the week. Let's get grandma to grab the kids and we'll just hang out at home. And I was like, well, for grandma to have the kids for a week, I just don't know that it justifies us just staying back at home, right? So that's the crux of it. Like, we got grandma's time, we got the kids, and then the fact that, like, they could ruin our lives any second, and we're right away, you know?
Yes.
So, like, at any moment, they could be home, week's over, right?
Yeah. And so it's one of those things where, so we, like, went back and forth about it forever. Mm-hmm. And I think that, you know, we ended up with a couple of days to ourselves. And I think that we both learned a lot. But I think that one of the biggest things that we learned, is that, like, love languages and, like, how you feel fulfilled really do matter, right? And I think that that's something that we both learned in, like, a very different way this weekend, because, you know, I think we had, like, the best 2 days of all time.
Which, it was, like, super good time. Better than I expected.
Yeah, like, go ahead.
No, so definitely expected. And, you know, quite frankly, Chelsea doesn't like to get up. Like, getting up is not her thing, right?
It's not.
I almost get up every morning at 6 o'clock by myself, no matter what. And so even if we're on vacation, it takes a lot for me to not just wind up and be like, right? And so a lot of times I'm like, even on a regular day, I'm like, okay, I can't do anything for 30 more minutes.
Yeah, well, and he was just like, he's like, I could see myself getting up, and then, like, I could go to the gym, but then when you get up, you're going to want to go to the gym. So it's like, I can't just leave you. And to be fair, I totally understood that. Yeah. And I didn't even really anticipate that it was wrong. Like, I did not think, like, I literally said, like, yeah, that's fair. That's super fair. And so, but I think that, and, you know, maybe the difference is, and I'll just ask you, like, what is your version of quality time?
Oh, man.
Like, what counts as quality time for you?
Any time without the kids can count. Like,
does that just mean, like, levels in their bed?
Though. What?
Like, if they're in bed, does that count as quality time, or does that feel like quality time for you?
It doesn't feel like it. Can feel like it. It doesn't always feel like it, just because I don't think that, quite frankly, I think a lot of the quality time matters on whether or not my phone's nearby or your phone, right?
Yeah.
So, like, after they go to bed, there's been times where I'm like, it is quality time. And there's been a lot of times where I'm like, we're Vegemite right now. We are just looking at our phones. We're just in a vegetative state, about ready to slumber.
Yeah, I think that, and, like, I think that these is, okay. I think that that's, like, one of the things that I kind of learned this weekend, because I was like, he doesn't want to spend time with me. Like, this man does not want to spend alone time with me, because I am over here, like, dying to just be with him. Like, I just want to be with him, and I don't care what we do. I don't care where we go. I just need to be with only him. Right. And then he's like, well, I don't know. Like, and so I was like, he just does not want to be alone with me. Like, apparently quality time is not valuable to him. But then as we start having these conversations, I'm learning that, like, for him, sitting on the couch, watching a show after our kids go to bed feels like quality time. And I'm not saying that that's wrong. Like, I think in some way it is.
It can be. It doesn't always feel like it, because a lot of times, though, like, there have been times where we are actually engaged with each other.
Sure.
And there's plenty of times where we're not. Like, and so there's probably more often than not, we're not. If we're going to call a spade. If I'm watching the basketball game, you're reading your book, and I also am scrolling through Tinder or playing a video game. Tinder. Scrolling through, I was going to say TikTok.
Yeah.
TikTok, Instagram, and, like, we're both very much not engaged with each other.
Yeah.
Or if I'm, like, editing a video.
Yeah.
Like, we're both very much, there's a thing in the middle, there's us, and then there's, like, that's not quality time. Yeah. I think some of the best examples of, like, in-house quality time that's just been available on a day-to-day basis is simple stuff like, hey, we're doing a puzzle together.
Yeah.
Like, turn on maybe a podcast, turn on some music, whatever it is, put the phones up, because a lot of times I know the phones is, like, the worst part of it. Put the phones up, and then we're doing a puzzle.
Yeah.
There's been plenty of times where it's been like, oh, we did a walk. Like, some of my favorite quality time that we've had in the last year and a half literally was just a walk down the street.
Yeah.
Holding hands in the summertime last year. Like, that can count.
I agree. I think for me though, because I think you're right, like the level of intention to the quality time is super important. Like how distracted am I? How much am I focusing on being connected to my partner? Like that super matters. I do think, however, and maybe I'll ask you this question and then I can talk about why it feels a little different for me. If one of our kids wakes up, who are they calling?
97% of the time you.
Yeah. So I think that, and that has nothing to do with you because like Bedford is home, he's involved, all of the things. Like the kids will ask me for something and Bedford will be like, how about dad? Dad's great. Dad can do it. And they're like, no, I don't want dad to do it. Like they're just jerks like that, right?
Pouring chocolate milk in a cup.
It's horrible.
Even
but
top 3 worldwide.
I do think though that it's one of those things where I just constantly, if I am here, and so like my part of what counts for quality time for me is how accessible am I to my children right now? Like, because if they wake up or, if something happens, they're coming straight for me. And so for me, it's almost like I can't just like shut my brain off and just fully be available to like be present with you because you stay ready. Especially as a mom and especially as someone who has stayed home with their kids for a really long time, that just like never turns off. You just like stay ready all the time. If someone's hungry, if someone's thirsty, if someone gets hurt, if someone has a bad dream, if someone, all those things. And so I think that there is just this mental level of like, I need to be available at any time that really is so hard to turn off so that you can just be mentally, emotionally present where you are.
Yeah.
And so I think it's like a couple of layers of things, but I also don't. So I think that was like a little bit of a miscommunication for us, right? Is saying like, hey, what quality time looks like for me is different than what it looks like for you. And that's why, because the other thing about it for me is that Bedford literally would give his happiness for me to be happy. And that's not a healthy thing, but I know he would. Yep. And so he is so good about being like, get out of the house, go have some time to yourself, go read a book somewhere, go to lunch with a friend, take a nap. Like, how can I help you? Do you want me to do this? Do you want me to do school drop off? Do you want me to do school pickup? I can give you a back massage. Like, he is so good at saying like, what do you need? How can I help you? But the hard thing is that like, you can do all of those things, but if I'm not getting like intentional quality time with you, it still feels like very empty because you're still not fulfilling that, right? Yeah. And so what is your love language?
Love.
What is
making?
Physical touch?
Yeah, just a little bit.
Okay. I feel like you should clarify that Bedford is a physical touch person across the board. It is definitely not just
heaps of high fives, hugs, like
yes,
whole thing. Positive
Bedford,
vibes.
Yeah, Bedford is a very
I'm the guy on the basketball
person.
team. Pop, good shot. Pop, attaboy. Pop, pop.
Yes.
Yeah.
Or like, he'll be in the kitchen and I'll walk in and then all of a sudden he just like grabs me and is just like, I just need to hold you for a second. Mm-hmm. Right. Or like if we're in the car, he is the hand holder. And I love all of these things. Like he will reach out to hold my hand. If I let go of it for some reason, as soon as I'm done, he grabs my hand again. Like, even in bed, like he would cuddle all night long.
Yeah.
And I cannot. It gets too hot, and
however,
I sleep on my
if you go to
stomach.
Costco for $14.99, you can get a body pillow. I call it Little Chels, and Little Chels never complains and lets me hold her all night long.
Except for she was on the floor 2 nights in a row.
Yeah, but well, it got too hot. But
oh, interesting.
I would just bathe in the sweat.
I think that the comparable in this situation is if your love language is physical touch, right? Like I could spend a ton of quality time with you, but not hold hands, or I wouldn't want to cuddle during the movie, or I could buy you gifts, or I could do all of these things that would make me present as a good spouse. And it means like, because my intentions are to love you, like, and to show you that I love you. And then oftentimes we try to like give love the way that we like receiving love, right? We just kind of assume that everybody likes that. And so I'm like, well, of course you want to have quality time with me, like very uninterrupted quality time with me. And that doesn't mean you don't. It just means that I think that's what's going to be fulfilling for you. right?
Well, and I think for me though, like my biggest thing and what I learned over the weekend was like how big the not having the kids nearby made a difference.
Yeah.
Because I can have quality time and feel like I'm having quality time with the kids around. It doesn't happen a lot because they suck, but like they do. We got 5 kids. They're a-holes.
Yeah.
All of them. Carte blanche. And so if it's not one, it's the other. They all take turns. It's colluded. Like they definitely are doing it on purpose, right? Something's always wrong with one of them. But, and I love them, but.
Yeah, they're kids.
They're kids,
essentially what
right?
we're saying. But raising kids is really freaking hard.
Raising kids is hard.
Because I was a horrible kid, and Bedford wasn't a great kid either. So I think that sometimes, you have to check yourself. But yes, raising kids is really, really hard.
But there'll be times where if we're going to go play pickleball with the kids, I'm like, yeah, this is quality family time. And I consider you part of my family. And then I'll look back and be like, yeah, but she was way over there and I was way over here.
Yeah.
And we didn't actually spend time together.
For example, it's like, so we go play pickleball as a family and we'll go and, we'll take everyone, generally not Jax, but mostly because he opts to be with his friends instead. Yeah, but Riker wants to legit play pickleball with Bedford. Like he is like,
he's trying
let's
to learn
play a game. I want to be good at it.
He wants to beat me legitimately. Yes. He does not want to beat me in any other way, shape, or form.
No. And so he is like, Dad, let's play. So they'll go onto a court together. And then I usually end up on the tennis courts with the girls. There's like one huge tennis court. So there's 4 like pickleball size courts, right? And then there's a huge tennis court. And nobody really uses the tennis court anymore because pickleball kind of phased that out a lot. So the tennis court is usually open and the girls can just go over there with their pickleball and their racket and they can practice hitting it over the net and they can literally just run. And I usually just hang out over there with them and I'm happy doing that. Like I just want to clarify, like being outside and being with my family, like it's good quality family time. Yeah. And I think that that's one of the biggest things that I learned about myself this weekend specifically is that I need multiple forms of time. Like I need family time, I need one-on-one time with you, and I need alone time, right? But I think that's kind of like, oh, we're spending like quality time together, but it is quality family time. And I don't even feel like I'm necessarily like taking the shaft in this situation to be like hanging out with the girls and like, watching them play. But like this weekend when it was just the 2 of us, we went and played pickleball for the first time, just the 2 of us. Mm-hmm. And we played for like almost 3 hours.
Yeah, it was a good long time.
Like just hanging out, playing pickleball, just the 2 of us. And I was like, sorry, I probably am going to suck at this because I don't ever actually play. I just kind of hit it around with the girls. And so
she ended up beating me a couple times, so
I did.
Yeah, it's on site next time.
I had 3 wins and he had 3 wins. So
I wasn't keeping track of that or else I would have changed my life.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not good.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
And so I think like sometimes like you hear, love languages, and like people talk about it, but you don't ever really sit down and talk about like because you can say too, like my love language is physical touch.
Yeah.
But like, what does that mean? Right? Like what types of physical touch does that mean? Because for women, I think that a lot of women just assume that physical touch is sex, right? Because remember when I told you
don't hate that.
No, of course not.
That's part of my love language for sure.
But like, remember when I was like, my love language is quality time, closely followed by physical touch. And you were like, no. Right?
She don't be hugging nobody. Like she doesn't even like
I hug you.
Yeah, that's pretty much it.
But I think that we're talking about love language in our relationship, right? Yeah. But he was like giving me a hard time and I was like, no, like there are so many different types of physical touch, right? Like that's obviously true. There's like, intimacy and like bedroom stuff, but there's also like, I like when you play with my hair or scratch my back, or I like when you kiss my forehead, or, I like cuddling to watch a movie. I like those types of things. So I think that part of it is sitting down with your partner and saying like, we are misaligned. Yeah. Because now knowing what we know from the experience that we had this weekend, I think it was more clear, like that we kind of knew what the other person needed, but we didn't really.
Yeah, like for me, one thing that I learned is that like she doesn't care what we do during that And she's always said that. And so, like, we're the perfect example of we'll dump the kids off and she's like, yay, no kids. Like, hey, what do you want to do, though? You trying to go bowling? You want to go mini golf? She's like, I don't care. It's like, you want to try to watch a movie? Like, I know you want this quality time. And imagine she's like, oh, I don't care. And I'm like, you don't care at all? Because, like, she's like, what do you want to do? It's like, well, I mean, obviously, I got to work on my golf game. And she's like, but you probably don't want to just sit there. She's like, no, I don't care. And it's like,
and he thinks I'm lying.
I would care.
Yeah, he thinks I'm lying, but I'm not. I don't care.
She could just sit there and...
I'll sit in the golf cart, eat my snacks, hang out. I genuinely don't care.
And so now I'm like, okay, so he really doesn't care as long as the kids aren't there. And so guess what? We're going golfing quite a bit more.
Yeah. Well, you even think about like our shopping experiences, it's like... We were talking about, because when we were having this debate, even just leading up into this weekend, where I was like, I don't care what we do, and he was like, I just feel like we would take 7 days and then you wouldn't think of anything to do. And then we would just end up at the PGA store, because one time he had said, hey, what do you want to do? And I was like, I don't care. And he was like, no, really, what do you want to do? And I was like, I genuinely don't care. And he was like, well, we could go to the PGA store. And he was just joking, but I was like, okay. And he was like, are you serious? And I was like, yeah, let's go. So we went to the PGA store. I'm walking around with him. The guys at the PGA store were like, hey, I kept stopping at the TVs because I was watching one of the
football on there.
Semifinal playoff games leading up to the Super Bowl. And I kept stopping. So this guy stopped me and he's like, hey, you want a chair? And I was like, yeah. So he got me a chair and he's like, do you want a drink? I was like, yeah. So he got me a bottle of water and I just sat there and watched this game, and Bedford and I would just kind of chat, and like, I was so happy doing that.
And I'm over here like, I'm a terrible husband.
He's like
I probably
feeling guilty.
Like, and I also want these Blueprint irons. So Ping, if you want to sponsor us.
Yeah.
So I'm over here like, man, these are cool. And I'm like, I really got to come up with something else. The whole time I'm literally like swinging and testing clubs. Like, what else do I need to do? Because I don't want to just sit and watch. Like, when she goes and gets her nails done, my thing is not sitting there and watching. I'm like, nah, you can go ahead and get that done. I'll get chores done or something, like,
yeah, I don't.
This is weird, but
and that's exactly what I'm talking about, though, is it's like, I think that so many marriages are like, we are not connected somewhere. Like, but I feel like it's because even with a good amount of information, you still aren't getting it.
Because sometimes you just don't get it. Like, and for me, I still don't get it. I just now know.
Yeah, like,
and I don't have to get it.
But I think it's because the normal is so different. Like, and I was telling him that. I was like, listen, you think about what my experience would be like if we were in the PGA store with the kids. Like, being in the PGA, you would still be able to like walk around and swing golf clubs, and the kids would be following me around, grabbing everything, touching stuff, pulling it off of the shelves. Like, that experience for you is pretty similar, whether the kids are there or not. Like, it doesn't shift a lot. It's like, and it's the same with going golfing or going to the grocery store. Like, your experience in those places, and not because you're not an involved father, but because a lot of default parenting falls on the mom. Yeah. Like, they grew in my stomach, right? Moms tend to be a little bit more nurturing. It's just part of the character of a mom, right? And so going to the grocery store, like, we went to the grocery store this past weekend and we bought like steak and stuff so that we could make dinner together. And it was like a blissful experience, just walking around. Or we went to Shields for like 2 hours, zero intentions, just walking around, literally. And it was the best experience ever, because I'm like, my kids aren't hanging on me. They're not asking for things. They're not asking when we're going to leave. They're not whining about being hungry or tired or I don't want to walk or whatever. Like, I don't have to deal with any of that. I can just exist, and like, existing anywhere with or without my kids is a completely different experience.
It's true. It's true. And like, yeah.
And I don't think that it says anything bad about a father. Like, I think that, because again, Bedford is so like, no, let me help you. No, let me do it.
Quite frankly, I'm probably the only one that Chelsea lost her privileges. She can't take the kids to the grocery store because she always buys stuff for them. But like, when more often than not, when I'm like, hey, I'm going to Costco, because especially now that I'm home, more often than not, I'm actually leaving the house because I'm like, I can't stay in the house all day.
Yeah.
And so I'll be like, hey, one of the kids want to come? Like, or 2 or 3, because I'll take all 4 or all 5 of them. Like,
and it usually just ends up being Sloan or Sloan and Mimi.
Yeah. Like, and so there's some that like love going, and for me, I'm like, that's fine. we'll go have a good time, or we'll not. Like, but there will be times. Well, I'm trying to remember the point I was trying to get to, but like, I don't. It's weird because I don't like. For me, part of that getting out of the house is just so fulfilling for me that I'm like, I don't care. The kids can come, and sometimes they suck. They do, like more often than not. But like, I'm just like, oh, but we're out of the house, and so it's different. Like, because even though we were out of the house, I was like, yeah, this is great. We're having a lot of time. We're having a good conversation. But for me, it was kind of still like, oh, I'm just out though, and it's good. It's wonderful. Yeah. We spent more money than normal. And I was aware of that, but other than that, like, yeah.
But I think too, like my state of being doesn't change whether I'm at home or whether I'm out as well, right? So it's like, if I'm home and I joke around about it, but I am dead freaking serious when I say that, like, and I think most moms can relate to it, but I could literally be in the shower.
Oh yeah.
And Bedford could be inside of the refrigerator, literally in it, not by it, not close to it, inside of the refrigerator. And the kids would come into the bathroom and say, Mom, could you get me a glass of milk? Like, and I'm like, what are you doing? Like, your dad is located in the refrigerator. Like, he could so easily do it for you. But in their minds, that's just what I do. That's just my job. Like, it equates to part of my responsibilities as their mom. And so it's like, whether I'm here or whether I'm somewhere else, they just kind of ask of me, and that's fine. Again, like, that's just the nature of being a mother, and there's nothing wrong with it. But I think that's why it feels so freeing, mostly for women, to be away from their kids.
Yeah.
Right? Because it's like such an astronomical difference. I was watching this reel, and this girl was showing, she had like one of those like clickers where you can like click and it rolls numbers. And she has 2 kids, and in one day her kids said some version of mom, like mom, ma, mommy, over 320 times. We should do
that. We should get clickers and then have a competition.
We really should. Like, just to see who gets called more often. That would be exhausting, quite frankly. I mean, I would say maybe not even for a full day, but even just to like take a couple of hours.
I'm getting clickers.
But like over 320 times in one day from 2 children. And I have 5. And so I was thinking about it, and I was like, I've got to be hearing mom 500 plus times a day. Oh, yeah, and it seems like, it doesn't seem like it. Like, if you were to ask me, I'd say, I don't know, like a lot, but not 500 plus. And so it's like, taking those chains off is just so different. And so I think, like, I guess I thought it was so interesting, and I just felt like a lot of people could relate to it, because I think that sometimes we think that we are giving our spouse what they need, right? Yeah. Like, I'm doing my best to like fulfill these needs, and I'm trying to show up where they need me to. And like, there are nights where I'm like, I could easily just lay in bed and go straight to bed but I'm like, Bedford's a cuddler, and I know that like feels like that is very fulfilling for him. And so I'm like, I will come over here and I will lay here and he'll fall asleep in 7 minutes. And then when I'm ready, I will go back over to my side of the bed. But it's just a matter of understanding, like, this is what they need. And it doesn't necessarily mean that I do it because I want to all the time, but like, I could do everything else and they would still not feel fulfilled.
Yeah.
Right. So anyway, I just thought it was an interesting conversation. I think that I learned a lot this week and like through the weekend, just about communication and how important that is, and like being able to completely express my needs rather than just assuming that somebody should understand what that means for me. And so I just feel like it was relatable. So in the comments, if you want to, give your opinion, talk about how you handle those types of things with your spouse, like navigating love languages, navigating what is like fulfilling for your spouse versus you, etc. Go ahead and leave some comments there, and we can just continue the conversation elsewhere.
Yep. As always, like, subscribe. It really helps the channel. Comment. If you have any questions, jokes, concerns, or details of how that giraffe got out, let us know about it.
Yeah, I mean, what the heck?
I don't know how that works, but I mean, I guess it must have high stepped right up on it. Yeah, anyway.
Who knows?
Yeah, if you know how to wrangle a giraffe, let us know. And in the meantime, we'll see you next week. See ya.